for keeping secrets for long, so I'm busting to tell you guys what my big special announcement is. You may remember me saying in some previous videos that I'm just not happy with my chalk paint. So I've always used chalk paint, usually in the color white for most of my projects. And what can I say? I'm a chippy white paint girl, but I've always used Waverly and Rust-Oleum, and here and there I've used some products from Hobby Lobby or Michaels, but I've just never been 100% happy because I like that chalk paint is easy preparation. It goes on most anything without sanding first, usually. But when you go to put that second coat on, it can get really thick and gloppy. So I've just been looking for a smoother, easier to work with paint. And guys, I have found it. And because I love it so much, I have become an affiliate for the company. So say hello to Fusion Paint. So after I became an affiliate, off I went to the Goodwill store to pick up some stuff to paint. And I picked up this wooden dish and this clock, which I wonder if you guess what I'm going to do with this. And this bright green storage container thing made of metal. And I picked up some other things, but as you can tell by my voice, I have got a cold. I turned up sick about 2 days into crafting, so I've only got 3 projects, but I promise they're really great. Now, when I saw this clock, the first thing I thought was cloche, an actual glass cloche. For under $5, I didn't see how I could do better. Plus, this isn't one of those fancy clocks like it looks like. It's really just plastic. It's not anything special, so I didn't feel bad to take it apart. There were just a couple of nuts on the bottom holding everything together, and so it was really easy to disassemble. Now for the painting. Oh my gosh, you guys are not going to believe. So the first color is Chamness. It's a beautiful blue color. And while I'm painting, I'll tell you a little bit about Fusion Paint. It is not a chalk paint, it is a mineral paint. And the company also sells other types of painting products like milk paint, which I intend to show you sometime as well. They have glazes and glosses and waxes and my goodness, just everything. But you'll notice how smooth this paint is going on and no prep, like I said. So this is a metal surface, very slick. The paint will stick and it's not gonna come off. It's amazing. So the first coat is a little transparent. So even though it might look like, thick enough and good enough in this video, you really want to use 2 coats. And when you put the second coat on, that's where I'm just really shocked, because ordinarily my second coat of chalk paint, I can never get very smooth, never. And so that's why I was on the search for a new kind of paint, and boy, did I find it. I decided that I wanted a bird to go inside of the cloche, and I found this little fat guy here at the Dollar Tree. And he was almost too big for the cloche, but I made it work. He was painted with some sort of an iridescent glaze, so I wasn't really liking that. So I'm going to use some Fusion Paint to tone that down. The color I'm using is Cashmere, and it is an off-white color with just a hint of beige in it. And something that I've noticed about the Fusion Paint line that I haven't noticed with other paints is that it seems like almost all their colors are complementary. It's like they all look great together. After my little fat birdie got dry, I felt like he was missing something, so I took a fine tip black Sharpie and I just drew on some little swoopy-doos for eyes. I went to my craft stash and I drug out every kind of moss I could find, and like there would be so many different varieties. Well, there are. And I also grabbed up a couple of pieces of greenery that I could trim and make a bird's nest. And after trying to form a nest in my hand and it would just fall apart, I went back to the old, just put down some hot glue and a wad of moss and just build it like that. I trimmed a few sprigs of greenery off of that Dollar Tree flower that you see laying there, and I just hot glued that in around the sides of the little nest. And in case the cloche got moved around, I didn't want those moss pieces flying around everywhere inside, so I took some spray adhesive and I just kind of gummied them up so maybe they wouldn't fly around inside the cloche. I had to test fit everything to make sure that my little fat birdie would fit with the nest and all, and he did. And so after I was sure everything would fit with the dome on, then I got my E6000 and I glued my bird down. And then I put the dome on, and that was it for me. I wanted to leave mine where I could take the dome off and on and put other stuff inside if I wanted to, repurpose it, whatever. But if you wanted to make yours permanent, just run some E6000 around the base before you put your dome on, and it should stick for good. Now, what am I going to do with this bright green metal container? It looks like a locker and a tag on it, which at first I wanted to, of course, clean it up. Then I wanted to remove that metal tag because I wanted to paint it a different color. I didn't want the whole thing to be one solid color. So when I tried to remove it, though, I saw that it wasn't going anywhere. All I managed to do was bend it. So I decided to leave it be, and I'll just figure something out later. And the color I'm going with on this one is putty, which looks really, really similar to cashmere, which you'll see me use in the next DIY. And I wanted to see what they looked like, both of them, after they've dried on a project. So we're going to use putty on big green here. So here again, we have a slick metal piece, and I haven't done any prep work other than just cleaning it with a little bit of soap and water, and I dried it. And so we'll see how it goes on. But I'm telling you, it's just the best paint I have ever crafted with. And I'll tell you something else. A little goes a long way. I dab a little bit on my brush, and I'm painting for quite a little spell before I have to dip back in the pot again. Here it is after its second coat. I'm so happy with the finish. And here it is compared with the other color, that cashmere, that's on the next upcoming DIY, which you'll wonder, why didn't you just show them in the order that you made them? Well, we YouTubers, we have our ways. But anyway, so putty is just a little bit darker than the cashmere. Cashmere is more white, and putty is definitely more clay or tan. I can't believe I forgot to mention that Fusion Paint has its own built-in top coat, but I'm going to show you this anyway. This is kind of a wax. Well, it is a wax. It is a liming wax, and if you've never heard of that before, it's kind of like a white wax, but without so much white paint. It's very, very subtle. A lot of people use it to kind of make oak, like that orangey oak color in wood, look more bleached out. And so I plan to try to find something to show you that little technique in an upcoming video. But for this little wall decoration, that's what I'm calling it because that's what it's going to be. For this wall decoration, I decided that I wanted to add a little bit more detail to the paint, so I chose to use this liming wax to add just a little bit of white, which twofold, it will protect my Fusion paint, which wasn't going to go anywhere anyway because it's Fusion paint, but I actually think it makes it look a little more distressed and rustic and pretty. Now, what about that bent up metal tag? Well, I could have put some ribbon over it or a bow or something, but I decided I really wish that tag, I would have just left it alone because I liked the tag. So I went into my stash and I found that I had bought these. I don't remember if it was Goodwill or another thrift store, but I found this bag of tags for like practically nothing, couple bucks, nothing. And so I'm going to replace the old tag by just putting a new one right on top of it. But first I wanted to stamp something on the tag. And so I'm using these letter stamps that I got from Michael's. They're so handy. They were about $12 for the package. They're all lowercase, and they also sell what is the big case? Lowercase, uppercase. They also sell the uppercase letters too. But anyway, I stamped "Be Happy" onto the tag. I used a little bit of hot glue to stick down the paper tag first, and a combination hot glue and E6000 for the metal part of the tag. Thank goodness in my stash I had a nice piece of greenery that can drape down the side of this, because I thought that would have been the perfect thing for this wall decoration. So I have that drapey piece of greenery. I'm going to use some white hydrangeas and what little blue ones I have. The last one is so fast and easy. You can take just any kind of a dish. I chose this wooden one because I thought it'd be pretty to distress, and put some of this fusion paint on, and you can just transform things so easy. Here's the second coat going on, and that's where the magic happens for me. This is the reason I love this paint so much, is this buttery, satiny smooth second coat. And this is just a regular Dollar Tree brush that I'm using. So I can't even imagine how much better this might go on with a fusion paint brush, because they're supposed to be so super soft. But anyhow, I'm just using a Dollar Tree brush for right now. I wanted to turn this dish into a jewelry holder, like something that could go beside the bed when you take your bracelets and earrings and stuff off for the night. So I turned to my IOD transfers and found something that I thought fit the bill perfect, and it matched this cashmere color so well. And rub-on transfers is one of my favorite things in existence. It can pretty up anything right quick. So you just peel the backing off, make sure you have it positioned where you want it to go before you stick it down, because it will stick pretty much immediately to your painted surface. So after you've got that stuck down, then use the little stick that usually the transfers come with and just rub it down. She's a beautiful transfer, and what I like to do with my transfers is take some sandpaper and distress it so that it kind of blends into the paint a little more. It doesn't look just like a sticker laying on top of something. So if you'll sand over, it blends the paint into the transfer and the transfer out into the paint, and just looks a lot more natural. And of course I wanted to distress this piece anyway and show some of the wood through. So I'm using my sandpaper to distress around the edges and put some little chippy marks in around the transfer as well. Now this one I actually did want to seal because I had caused some chipping in the paint with my distressing, and I didn't want it to chip any further. I wanted to stay just like this, so I'm using that same liming wax. I'm going to go over the whole piece, and it works just like furniture wax. It is furniture wax, so it's going to harden and seal everything very nicely. And I'm telling you, 100% fact. This is hands down the best paint I have ever used in my life, and I'm thinking about painting my whole kitchen cabinets with it. I'm so excited to be an affiliate for Fusion Paint, because this is a company that I really, really like, and I hope that you guys can help my little business grow, and all of my customers get 10% off their order. Time for a cute cat video. Since I've been sick with a cold, I've had some company, and boy, are they lazy. thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and you don't catch this dreaded cold that I have. And I will see you in the next one. Bye!